Have you ever felt it? That quiet, persistent sense of being different, not in a way that seeks attention, but in a way that feels woven into the very fabric of your being. It's as if you're standing on the shore, watching ships sail by, and you can hear their music and laughter, you can see their lights bobbing on the waves, but you're fundamentally not on any of those ships. You speak their language, you understand their customs, but there's a deeper language within you that no one else seems to hear. It's a profound and sometimes aching aloneness. Not loneliness, which is the pain of wanting company and not having it, but aloneness, a state of being that feels like your natural habitat, even if it brings a quiet sorrow with it. It's the feeling that you perceive the world through a different lens, that you're tuned to a frequency that others can't pick up. If this resonates with you, if you've ever felt like an observer of life more than a participant in the grand, bustling party of it all, then you've found a safe harbor here. What we're going to explore together is not a flaw or a deficiency, but perhaps, just perhaps, a calling, a destiny. Imagine for a moment that the world of humanity is a vast ocean. Most people are sailors on this ocean, aboard countless ships. There are grand cruise liners of collective belief, fast-moving yachts of ambition, sturdy cargo ships of family and tradition. They sail together, navigating by the same stars, sharing the same maps, celebrating in the same ports. They are concerned with the currents of social opinion, the weather of the economy, the gossip passed from ship to ship. It is a world of shared experience, of belonging, of consensus, and it is beautiful and necessary. But you are not a sailor. You are the keeper of a solitary lighthouse built on a rocky outcrop of land that stands apart from the common shipping lanes. From your vantage point, you see the entire ocean. You see the patterns in the tides that the sailors, busy with the rigging on their own decks, cannot see. You see the storm clouds gathering on the horizon long before they do. You feel the deep, ancient vibration of the earth beneath you, a stability the ships on the ever-moving water can never know. Your reality is different. Your concerns are different. While the sailors worry about their cargo and their destination, you worry about the light. Tending the light is your entire purpose, and this is the source of your profound aloneness. You live in service to something the sailors might take for granted, or might not even notice until they are lost in the fog. If this metaphor speaks to a truth deep within you, I want to invite you to stay with me on this journey. This isn't just a talk. It's an exploration into the heart of who you are. And if you feel a connection here, a sense of being understood, perhaps for the first time, I gently invite you to subscribe to Mind Decode Explained. We are a community of fellow lighthouse keepers, of souls who are learning to tend their own light in a world that often prefers the shared darkness. Let's journey together. So why are you on this island? How did you become the keeper? No one is born a lighthouse keeper. We all begin our journey on one of the ships, part of the fleet. We learn the sailors' knots, sing the sailors' songs, and believe in the sailors' maps. But for some, a storm comes. Not just a passing squall, but a life-altering tempest. It could be a profound loss, a deep betrayal, a sudden illness, or a crisis of faith that shatters all the maps you were given. The psychologist and trauma expert Bessel Kolk reminds us that trauma isn't just an event that happened in the past. It's the imprint left on the mind, brain, and body. This storm is a kind of trauma to the psyche. It's the shipwreck. Your ship, the one that carried all your beliefs, your identity, your sense of belonging, is torn apart by the waves. While others may have weathered the same storm and managed to patch their hulls and continue on with the fleet, you were washed ashore, alone, on this strange and rocky island. You wake up, gasping, on the cold stones, and you see the wreckage of your old life bobbing in the surf. At first, it is terrifying. This is the deepest loneliness. You scream for the other ships, but they are too far away. Already sailing on toward the next port, you are stranded, But then, as you explore your new home, you find the lighthouse. It's ancient, solid, and built into the very bedrock of the island, and you realize you have a choice. You can sit on the beach for the rest of your life, staring at the horizon, mourning the ship you lost and the fleet you can no longer join. Or you can accept your new reality. You can climb the winding stairs, clean the great lens, and light the lamp. This very act of accepting the solitary post, of choosing to tend the light instead of mourning the past, is the beginning of the spiritual journey. It's what the great psychiatrist Carl Jung called the process of time's individuation *. Jung believed that true psychological maturity involves separating from the collective consciousness the sea of shared beliefs and assumptions to discover and become who you truly are. It is the journey from being a sailor in the collective fleet to becoming the sovereign keeper of your own consciousness, your own light. This path, by its very nature, is a solitary one. You cannot individuate in a crowd. You must, for a time, stand apart to discover what is uniquely yours. This brings us to one of the first great thorns, a painful misconception we must gently remove. The mind, in its attempt to make sense of this aloneness, will often whisper two poisonous stories. The first is, "You are alone because you are broken. The shipwreck was your fault. You are unlovable, unworthy of being on a ship with others." This lighthouse is not a sanctuary, it is a prison. This is the voice of shame. The second story is the polar opposite, a defense against the first. You are alone because you are superior. The sailors are fools, lost in their petty games. You are enlightened, special, chosen. This lighthouse is a castle, and you are its king. This is the voice of spiritual ego. Both stories are traps. They are illusions created by the mind to avoid the raw, vulnerable reality of your situation. The truth is far more simple and profound. You are not better or worse than the sailors. You are simply different. Your function is different. Your perspective is different. The great researcher Brené Brown teaches that vulnerability is not weakness. It is the core of all meaningful human experience. The true lighthouse keeper embraces their vulnerability. They feel the cold wind. They hear the lonely cry of the gulls. They accept the immense responsibility of their post. They are not hiding in their tower out of fear, nor are they looking down with contempt. They are simply present, tending the light, because that is what must be done. So, let's explore what it truly means to live in this lighthouse. Your relationship with reality itself has shifted. The sailors on the sea experience life through the immediate concerns of their ship. Their world is defined by the deck beneath their feet, the sail above their head, the other sailors they interact with. Their conversations are about navigating the immediate waves, securing the cargo of daily life, wealth, status, relationships, security. These are not wrong. They are simply the reality of the ship. But from the top of your lighthouse, you see the whole system. You see that the individual waves are part of a larger tide, that the tide is pulled by the moon, that the entire ocean is part of a planet spinning in a vast, silent cosmos. You begin to perceive the underlying principles of existence, the deep patterns that the sailors are too busy to notice. This is why conversations can feel so strange. You might be at a party, which is like a brief visit to one of the ships in port. Everyone is talking about the latest storm in politics, or the cargo someone just acquired, or the drama between two other sailors. You can participate, you can understand the language, but a part of you is always aware of the moon and the tides. You have seen something larger. You have glimpsed the mechanics of the game itself, and once you have, you can't entirely lose yourself in playing it anymore. This creates an unbridgeable gap, not of superiority, but of experience. It's like trying to describe the view from the top of the mountain to someone who has only ever lived in the valley. You can use words, you can draw pictures, but you cannot transmit the feeling of the wind, the vastness of the sky, the silence that speaks volumes. This is why the path is solitary. You walk alone, not because you are antisocial, but because there is literally no one who can fully share your specific vantage point. Your perceptions, your deepest understandings, are born of your unique position. And this extends to relationships. Most relationships in the world are ship to ship. They are alliances, trade agreements, partnerships for a shared journey. They are based on two egos, two separate identities negotiating their needs, fears, and desires. But the lighthouse keeper has had a fundamental shift in identity. Through the quiet solitude, through watching the endless cycle of day and night, storm and calm, you begin to realize something extraordinary. You realize that you are not just the keeper in times the lighthouse. You are the light itself. You are the ancient stone of the tower. You are the unshakable rock it's built upon. The illusion of being a small, separate self, the shipwrecked sailor, begins to dissolve. You see that what you are is the consciousness in which the entire ocean, all the ships, and the lighthouse itself appear. When this shift happens, your way of relating changes profoundly. You no longer meet people ego to ego. You are not trying to get something from them, not validation, not security, not a remedy for loneliness. Because you have found your center within yourself, on the solid ground of your island, you are complete. Your aloneness is not an emptiness to be filled, but a fullness to be shared. You can now love more purely, more freely than ever before. You can offer your light to the ships without needing them to sail to your island. You can love them without needing them to abandon their journey to stay with you. You can be a beacon of unconditional presence. But here is the paradox. Most people don't know how to relate to this. They are so accustomed to the transactional nature of ship-to-ship relationships that when they encounter the lighthouse, a steady, unconditional light that asks for nothing in return, they become confused. They might try to trade with you, but you have no need for their cargo. They might try to compete with you, but you are not in a race. They might try to pull you into their dramas, but you are anchored to something far deeper. And so, they often sail on, perhaps waving a friendly goodbye, but ultimately unable to comprehend your world. You must accept this. You must let them sail on. Your job is not to convince them to come ashore. Your job is to tend the light, for any and all who might need it. This solitary work is your destiny, your calling. The prophets of old went into the wilderness. The monks sought the solitude of the caves. The artists and visionaries locked themselves away in their studios. They did not do this because they hated the world. They did it because they had to. They had to step away from the noise of the fleet to hear the subtle music of the universe. They had to find a place of profound silence to birth something new into the world, a new vision, a new truth, a new possibility for humanity. Your lighthouse is your monastery, your wilderness, your studio. The work you are doing is primarily internal. It is the work of polishing the great lens of your perception so that your light shines more brightly and clearly. It is the work of reinforcing the foundations of your tower against the inevitable storms of life. It requires immense dedication and a focus that the constant social demands of life on a ship make impossible. You have to guard your solitude, not as a rejection of others, but as the sacred space where your real work gets done. You are on a mission assigned to you by existence itself the moment you washed ashore, and you must fulfill this mission alone. But let's be very clear about what this mission is. The breakthrough moment for every lighthouse keeper, the point where aloneness transforms from a burden into a gift, is the realization of true connection. For a long time, you might believe your purpose is to be separate, to be the stable point of reference, times 4, times the moving ships. But the final layer of illusion to dissolve is the separation between the lighthouse and the sea. As you stand in your tower, watching day after day, year after year, you see it. You see that the rain that falls on your tower is the same water that makes up the ocean. You feel that the wind that batters your walls is the same wind that fills their sails. You realize that the rock of your island goes down, 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 beneath the waves, becoming the very seabed on which the entire ocean rests. You are not separate from the ocean. You times are times the ocean, expressing itself for a time as a lighthouse. The sailors are also the ocean, expressing itself as ships. The distinction was only ever one of form, not of substance. This is the great and beautiful paradox. You had to become completely alone to discover that you are connected to everything. You had to leave the fleet to find your true family in all of existence. In losing the sense of belonging to a single ship, you gained a sense of belonging to the entire cosmos. Your aloneness is the doorway to true unity. When this realization dawns, the last vestiges of loneliness dissolve like sea foam in the sun. You are solitary, but you are not lonely, because you are in constant communion with the sky, the sea, the stars. You are apart from the human world, yet you feel more love for humanity than ever before, for you see them not as a confusing crowd, but as brave, beautiful expressions of the same one life that you are. You see their struggles, their joys, their fears, not with judgment or detachment, but with the vast, compassionate perspective of the ocean itself. You are the silent witness, the steady light, the unwavering presence. Your aloneness is your service. Your solitude is your love song to the world. So, what does it mean, then, to live this realization? How do you empower yourself as the keeper of your own light? It begins with acceptance. Accept your island. Stop wishing you were back on a ship. The shipwreck was not a tragedy. It was an appointment. It was the universe calling you to your post. Embrace the solitude. Make friends with the silence. In that silence, you will begin to hear your own true voice, the deep wisdom that was drowned out by the noise of the fleet. From this place of acceptance, you can begin to consciously tend your light. What does this look like in practical terms? It means polishing the lens of your perception. This is the practice of mindfulness, of seeing the world as it is, without the fog of your judgments and conditioned beliefs. It means checking your fuel source. This is your connection to whatever you experience as the divine, as truth, as the source of life, be it through meditation, nature, art, or prayer. This is what nourishes you and keeps your light from dimming. It means reinforcing your tower. This is the work of building emotional resilience, of understanding your own psychology, of healing the remaining wounds from the shipwreck so that they don't crack the walls of your being during the next storm. As Bessel van der Kolk's work implies, this involves not just the mind, but the body. It means feeling grounded in your physical self, on the solid rock of your island. And finally, it means simply letting your light shine. You don't need to aim it at any particular ship. You don't need to shout instructions through a megaphone. Your job is not to control the sailors or direct their course. Your job is simply to be a clear, steady, and reliable light. That's it. Some ships will see your light and use it to navigate safely into harbor. Others will be too far away to see it. Some might see it and curse it, preferring the familiar darkness. It is not your concern. You simply shine. You trust that the light itself is enough. You, the one who has felt so different, so apart, are not broken. You are not flawed. You are a lighthouse. Your path is solitary because it must be. The truth you have discovered cannot be shouted in a crowded port. It can only be lived in the steady silence of your own being. The work you are doing requires a depth that social chatter cannot accommodate. But in this sacred aloneness, you are discovering the most profound connection imaginable. You are walking a pathless path, guided by an inner compass that others cannot see, serving a purpose that has chosen you. Know that you are not the only one. Scattered across the vast ocean of this world are other lighthouses, other solitary keepers tending their flames. Sometimes, on a very clear night, you might just see a faint flicker of light from another tower, far across the water. And in that moment, you will know that while you are alone, you are part of a silent, luminous network of souls holding the light for this world. So stand tall on your rock. Embrace the wind. Let the sea spray kiss your face. And tend your light. It is the greatest gift you have to offer, and it is more than enough.